Then there was sprain 7, the ball sprain. In the fall of 1998, Hank and I went to a charity ball. It was going to be a fun night. He was wearing his tux and I was dressed in a beautiful gown. It was one of the rare times that I wore heels. We had no more than arrived in the event and were still in the lobby when I stepped on a seam between the tile and the carpet floor and over my ankle went, slamming the side of my foot into the floor. Hank caught me and got me to a nearby chair. He carefully removed my shoe to reveal my ankle had already started to blow up. There was no way we could stay for the event. We were quite the sight, Hank carrying me like I was a new bride and me holding my shoe, both of us dressed in formal wear. We tried to self-treat, but this seemed like a particularly bad one. The ankle swelled up bigger than it had for anything except maybe the Hooters sprain. By Sunday night, I had had enough, and Hank took me to the ER. Sure enough, in addition to another bad sprain of the ankle, I had broken the 5th metatarsal in my foot. This put me in a cast yet again. I had a pink fiberglass one. I was in the cast and on the crutches for 2 months. We went to see the ortho again, and of course he gave me a lecture about having surgery again. He explained that more was at stake than just the sprained ankles. This broken foot was exactly what I risked by continuing to walk around with the ligaments in my ankle compromised. Hank promised to take such good care of me if I chose to have the surgery. I insisted on waiting to see how the ankle responds to this latest sprain. I had now suffered 7 sprains, including the latest one that included a broken foot. I seemed to be plagued by dumb luck in association with this ankle. I was very disappointed to be injured once again. Hank continued to try and convince me to have the surgery, although he did always stipulate it was up to me, and he would support whatever decision I made regarding this. I struggled through the rest of 1998, recovering from this latest sprain and fractured foot. After getting out of the cast, I struggled to walk for the next month or so before I started to get around better. I knew that I had to take care of myself and make sure I didn't turn my foot over again if I didn't want to have surgery. My ankle seemed to always be swollen to some level at this point. Hank would always give me foot rubs trying to make the swelling go away. The broken foot was an eye-opener, and I became very careful about my foot going forward. I would rarely wear heels and wore my brace religiously. I really did a good job of recovering from the broken foot. I felt like my confidence in my foot had recovered as well as the foot itself. Although we had been here before.
Oh dear, I had no idea where you were going with that story when you introduced it as the ball sprain. I was going a whole different direction with that. My mind kind of works that way. That's awful, you ended up with a broken foot also. I'm so sorry, sweetie, you have been through so much with this foot.
Sprain 8 was known as the Disney sprain. After an uneventful 1999 as my ankle went, we decided to go to Disney World in the spring of 2000. The girls were of an age that they were still young enough to enjoy it, but not so young as to make for the complications of kids in strollers. I brought my ankle brace along for the day at the park. After arriving at our hotel, we all decided to go down by the pool so the girls could swim, and Hank and I could have a cocktail. In the name of good ankle support, I rarely wear flip-flops, but what the heck, we were on vacation, right? So while we are down by the pool, having our cocktail watching the kids swim, I sat on a lounge chair enjoying my book. I got up off the chair to go for a swim. As soon as I stepped on my left foot, over it goes. Again, I feel like I have ruined everything. I convinced Hank to take the girls to the park the next day, leaving me at the hotel with my ankle elevated and iced. Hank got a pair of crutches for me and an ace bandage. It became clear that this sprain wasn't that bad as these things go. I was off the crutches in 5 days and had 2 shoes on again in 2 weeks. I continued to struggle with the recovery from this sprain, despite the fact it seemed relatively minor. It was the fall, before I had felt like I had recovered from this sprain. I continued to have good luck with the ankle after the Disney sprain. I rarely, if ever, wore heels, and I did nothing from an athletic standpoint other than work out at the gym and ride a stationary bike. I wore my brace religiously when I did. My luck continued to hold out with my ankle. 2000 turned to 2001, 2002, and 2003, and I continued to have good luck with my ankle. It was an abundance of caution that caused me to have this lucky streak. I continued to convince Hank that my ankle was doing okay, and surgery wasn't necessary. In the fall of 2003, we went to one of Jenna's soccer games. It was a little chilly, so Hank and I huddled together on the bleachers watching the game. After the game ended, we started down the bleachers to tell Jenna how well she had played. Something happened, and my ankle twisted. After it had already twisted, I fell forward off the bleachers, and Hank wasn't able to catch me. I ended up landing on my already twisted ankle, and it collapsed completely underneath me. This was a bad one, and I knew it. Hank and one of the other moms helped me to the car completely unable to put any weight on the ankle. This was as bad an injury as I have had yet. It swelled up terribly. Hank took me to see the orthopedist, and I wasn't able to come up with much of an argument against going. He took an MRI and x-rays to give me a good evaluation of where I was at with the ankle. He put me in a cast and said I should be in it for 6 weeks. Again, he recommended that I have surgery to help stabilize the ankle. He confirmed the ligaments had pretty much been destroyed in the repeated sprains. He also said that the cartilage on my talar dome seemed compromised and that there were bone chips that could be removed from the ankle. I told him I would consider the surgery, as I really was getting sick and tired of being injured all the time. This time, after I got out of the cast, the doctor put me in what he referred to as a boot, which was basically a big plastic cast held on with Velcro that I could walk in. After 6 weeks in the cast, I spent 2 months in the boot. This seemed to help protect my ankle even after I was off the crutches and walking on it. I got out of the boot in March of 2004, and I have to say, the ankle felt really good. After this last episode, Hank had numerous conversations about having the surgery. I told him how scared I was, and he did so much to convince me that everything would be fine. He would be with me through the whole thing, and the girls would be there to help me also. We went back to the doctor to discuss the surgery. He explained that I would need to be in a cast for about 2 months, and that it would be about 4 months for complete recovery. As summer was approaching, I didn't want to do the surgery yet. I decided to wait until the week after Christmas. This would give Hank plenty of time to take off work to take care of me and give me a sense of renewal for 2005. Hank continued to reinforce the fact that I was doing the right thing in getting the surgery. We talked about all the things we could do together once I had the risk of always spraining my ankle removed. In October of 2005, Hank was killed instantly in a car accident. My world felt like it had completely collapsed. Hank had been my everything, and I had never felt so scared and alone. I had to be strong for my 2 little girls now, 13 and 14. Everything had changed. I was completely caught off guard by these awful events. I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. I was all alone in the world again, except for my girls and my friends. I did my best to carry on for the girls' sake. Without Hank around, I lost my nerve to get the surgery, and I canceled it. Besides, my ankle felt pretty good. I kidded myself. As 2005 turned to 2006, I did my best to carry on without Hank. I took very good care of my ankle, as I knew I did not want to be laid up with another bad sprain, not without Hank's nurturing care to take care of me. At this point of my life, I felt perpetually scared. My ankle behaved itself very well in 2006. This was very lucky, as I was doing my very best to appear in control for my daughters, and sitting around with ice on my foot for days on end wouldn't help this cause. Certainly, this wouldn't give them any confidence that I could run our lives. The further I got along without problems with my foot, the more I was convinced I was right to not get the surgery. The girls and I were doing okay, all things considered. I started to get my confidence that we might be okay without Hank.
Oh, honey, never mind the ankle. That was just heartbreaking to hear. As you told the story, I wonder what had become of Hank. I didn't think anything that awful would have happened. On top of all you have been through with your ankle, you had to deal with a tragedy like that. I'm so sorry.